Are you a hair professional that sacks or bans clients? Maybe you're new to the industry and you see all of the chatter online and you don't know what to make of it. Or perhaps you're a client who has been banned. Well, I've got 40 years of experience in the industry and I have some thoughts. Let's get into it. Hello and welcome to the world of Craig. Yes, that's me. I'm Craig and this is my channel where we get into all things hair and sometimes a little bit of beauty. A couple of weeks ago, I made a short form video, a reel. It's on here as well, a short, that's the one, which is all about sacking clients and would I do it? It's something I get asked a lot when I do in-person classes and there's always an element in the class where we just chat about clients and chat about business, and it always comes up and I do get asked from time to time. So I made this short form reel and I was short form video and I was very shocked about some of the responses, the comments. It's good. It's good that it provoked conversation in people, sparked people wanting to share their insight as well. And I'm sure there are going to be a lot of people that disagree. Perhaps if people see this video because it's something that is perhaps a bit different, who knows what the algorithm shows anybody. And I'm sure there'll be, like I said, lots of people that will disagree. But I felt that I wanted to make this video because even if it helps one hair professional, if it gives somebody a different point of view or a different perspective, or I can share my insight as someone that's been working with people for 40 years, then it's worth making. So let's get into it. Yes, I am wearing a red shirt. Red is for danger. Gulp. So before we get into, the insight I'd like to share, which could help somebody, which would be great, I just want to mention that quite a lot of the comments on that short form video were about mental health. And if something feels that bad and makes you that unhappy and could possibly affect your mental health, then I think there is absolutely nothing wrong with asking somebody to not come back. Okay, we're going to get into that a bit later on in the video. There is nothing wrong with that. I don't think anybody's mental health should be affected. I really don't. I think that's very important to make this point here. I have never, ever, ever sacked a client. Never, ever, ever. I've only ever had one client that I asked not to come back into the salon a long, long time ago because their behavior was racist. But I have never personally sacked a client. I don't think you need to. More of that later. And of course, I understand that we work in a time now where people specialize in a particular area. I decided a long time ago that I was going to do hair. That's why I do that at the beginning of the video. And that is what I do. I do lots of different things. If you follow me on other platforms, on Instagram where I have my sort of day-to-day, you'll see I do lots of different things as well as see clients in the salon. But if you specialize in one particular area of hair, like blonding or extensions or, textured hair, then that's all good. And I'm not saying it's bad. And therefore I understand that you might want to hone your client base. I just have to make those 2 points because they're very important. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm pointing the finger at them or that I am saying that something is wrong. I am not. I'm just giving you my POV. So this is going to come from the heart. I've just looked at my notes, but I've put them down. What we do as hair professionals is we look after people. The technical hair is a very small part of what we do. But it is part of it, obviously, and the result. But the majority of what we're doing as hair professionals is managing people's expectations and making people feel great. Of course, yes, it all goes together. I understand that. But it's our job. It is part of what we do. Yeah! Now, taking what I've already mentioned about somebody making you feel really bad yourself and making you so worked up that you don't want to go and stand behind the chair, taking that out of the equation, sometimes people are going to be more demanding or they're not going to be very good at getting their, what it is they want across. But that is where we have to hone our skills as hair professionals in, yes, listening. I've done this a long time, and I've done different things like red carpet. I've done, I've put Lindsay Lohan's hair extensions in backstage. I've done lots of different things. and I've dealt with crazy management, you know, people's managers who are just incredibly rude and very abrupt and can be very intense. And I've had, you know, clients in the salon that are very intense. I've done all different aspects. But I've always seen it in the same way, and that is that it's a job. It's my job to make people feel great, make people look great, make people walk away feeling really good about themselves. And all of that comes from one really simple point, and that's from listening. You know, yes, I do know that sometimes it's tricky in that people don't know what they want, but then it's our job to sit down with them and to get that information out of them. And if you're a client watching this, you know, it is important that you do manage your own expectations. You know, expectations are, again, something that's talked about a lot on social media. No one's got any, all of that chatter about expectations. But it's important that you are realistic. And you, as a hair professional, you need to be able to communicate that to people and say, well, you know, I can't get you here today, but I might be able to get you here in another 3 appointments, and that's going to cost you this much, and it's going to take this much time, and, you know, and ask them how they feel about that. So, you know, what we do as hair pros, it's our career, and I know it brings us a lot of joy, but I know there are things that are going to make us anxious, but it's also worth remembering that it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. So you've got to think about all of those things. Right, moving on. It's worth mentioning and adding at this point that did you know that every new client that you have in your chair has the potential to recommend another 10 clients? If the appointment breaks down or you tell them in a way that is perhaps abrupt, considered rude, or not very professional, that you don't want to see them as a client anymore, they have the potential to tell everyone that that is what has happened, something that is definitely worth bearing in mind. And now I just want to mention something that I call self-sabotage and appointment breakdown. You know, and I've seen it many, many times. It probably happened to me when I was an assistant, maybe when I was when I was just qualified very, very early on. I can't remember, perhaps I've blocked it out, but it hasn't happened to me, certainly in the last 38 years, perhaps. Self-sabotage. RuPaul talks about it a lot, and it's very much there. How many times, if you're a hair professional, have you sat in the staff room and a stylist has walked in and said, oh, I've got that really awkward client and I don't want to do their hair. Oh, I really don't like them. They probably say lots of other things too, but I'm not going to say them on here. Happens a lot, doesn't it? Yes. It's happened in every salon I've ever worked in, but it's something I don't do. I stopped doing it a long time ago because what you are doing is you are sabotaging them. You're sabotaging them. You're sabotaging yourself by actually letting that thought fester in your mind. You are making things worse for you. And I promise you this, I have seen it in other stylists. I've seen it recently, you know, and it's really shocking to me when an appointment spirals out of control because that stylist has been in the staff room and gone, I don't about that client. And then the client, you know, picks up on that vibe and then kaboom. So don't do it to yourself. Don't set yourself up for failure. Don't set yourself up for that vibe that someone is going to pick up on. I see it in supermarkets or in department stores or, you know, or in restaurants where people are just like, and then it's, and then it just goes, and then it's just not good for anybody. So please don't sabotage yourself. And if you have those thoughts, put them out of your brain, you know, try and get them out of your head. And at the very, if you can, and at the very, very least, don't verbalize it, please. I'm sure there are people watching this that are shaking their head. Of course, you can leave me your thoughts in the comments. Yikes. I reply to everybody, and I do read every single comment that is posted that you leave. You lovely people. Yes, leave here on my channel. Let me just talk briefly about a digital nightmare. I know that a lot of you, if you're hair professionals, maybe if you're clients as well and you book appointments that way, will be communicating with people, hair professionals, or you with your clients via digital platforms, and that's good. Thank goodness for the digital age, he says the YouTuber. But this is something that I have done some work with hairstylists and salons before. If you have a client that is not happy, or if you are a client that is not happy, please arrange a face-to-face conversation in person. This is important. Digital messaging is great and it's brilliant, and thank goodness, hallelujah, I've already said that. But at the end of the day, it's very hard to get to the root of the problem or the issue or what someone's not happy about via digital direct message. Get with it, Craig. I know we live in busy times, but my response to somebody that was not happy, it doesn't happen to me, and I'm very grateful for that. It doesn't mean I'm perfect, but it doesn't happen to me. But if someone isn't happy, I will get them in as soon as I can to sit down and talk to them about why they are not happy. I would probably even give them a comp blow dry so that I can talk to them and I can, look at the hair and I can work out exactly what it is. Face to face is always the way. I have had people DM me before where they've said, I've had a client that's not happy, she's a right, and I don't know what to do. And then they sent me their DMs and the first message they've sent back is, well, your hair looked great, I'm a brilliant hairdresser. Wow. You might well be, but really what you've done is you've done yourself in by sending that message. Just my response would always be the same. Get them in, sit them down face to face, and then you can work out why they're not happy and you can come to some kind of solution. Now, it's important that I share some insight of my own with you, an experience of my own, and this will or won't help you, but it will give you some insight into why I don't feel you need to sack or ban anybody. And I'm not suggesting that anyone is being rude or mean or horrible or making a scene, but those comments on that short form content were strong, really strong, some of them, and that bothers me. That there's that sort of chatter about. I mean, I don't think a lot of the digital hair platforms help because they champion that sort of content because it really gets engagement. So I had a new client that came to me who came to me through digital, and they came to me for color, and they were very challenging, very, very challenging. It was a big job. It was a big bill, a very big bill, and they were very challenging, and they pushed and pushed and pushed throughout the whole 7 hours, I think it was about 7 hours that I was with them. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was challenging, and I thought, wow, I don't really want to do this again. And at the end of the appointment, it was for colour, for a big colour job, and towards the end of the appointment, I was saying, are you happy? I want to make sure that you are happy with the result. And they said to me, well, I'm not sure, so I would like to go away and wear the colour for a couple of weeks, and then I will get in touch with you and let you know. And I said, no, I want you to be happy when you leave the salon. It's really important for me. I don't want you walking around not feeling great about your hair, so let's make sure that you're happy now. And what happened and the hair was great, and it was, I think, about an £800 bill, something like that. But at the end of the appointment, they said to me, I'll tell you what, yeah, I mean, it's good. They didn't say that they were happy. They said, it's good, I'm going to go away and I'm going to think about it. But if I think it needs another toner, I will be in touch with you, and then I will come in and you will do the toner for me free of charge. And I said, no, because when you leave here, that's the end of this appointment, and I want you to be happy. And if you want to come back and have it toned at a later date, then you will have to pay for that. Anyway, they left the salon swinging their hair, feeling very glamorous. I could tell from their body language that they were very happy. And then lo and behold, a couple of weeks later, 10 days later, they emailed me and said, I'm not quite happy with the toner. I'd like to come in and have a complimentary toner. And I emailed back and said, sorry to hear that you're not quite happy now. It looked fantastic when you left the salon. Wow. If you'd like to come and have it toned again, then the price would be, XYZ. Never heard from them again. That, in my opinion, is how you would perhaps deal with somebody that is tricky. And I never had to say to them that I didn't want them to come back, but they're not going to come back and sit in my chair again. So that's just some insight of one of my experiences, of which there aren't that many, thank goodness. But yes, it all comes down often to how you deal with these things, and making sure that people are happy is very powerful. So there you go, some insight into why I would never ever sack a client, sack a client. And really, you know, to conclude everything, at the end of the day, it's never about us as hair professionals. I know there'll be people that disagree with that, you know, people that pirouette into a room and it's all shalala, but it isn't about us, it is about the clients. And it's interesting in that the first shop up video, the box dye video that I did that went huge, that really blew up, it had so many comments from so many people who were clients that now colour their own hair that said they had a terrible experience and that they had someone that was rude to them or mean, and obviously I'm not there, I don't know, but you know, I think these things can run away with themselves, and it's always interesting for me as a hair professional who's still as passionate about people and hair as I was 38 years ago when I went into this profession, to hear different people's insight and also to try to help hair pros and consumers now, you know, understand what all of this is about. And really it is about the person that sat in your chair, and it's as much about how they feel as it is about the hair. Please, if you're a hair professional watching this, don't sabotage yourself. Try not to get yourself worked up, but if it really is that bad, then just have a polite conversation or send an email to say, you know, I don't think that I am the stylist for you. At the end of the day, that's how I would suggest that anyone does it, rather than make a scene or get into some kind of back and forth DM message thing that's just not going to do anyone any good. If you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, you know exactly what to do. A slightly different one, but something that I felt needed to be made. There's lots and lots of content here on my channel. There's over 700 bits of content, and I know it's tricky for people to find things, but most things are in playlists to make it easier for you to find them. A huge thank you if you've got to the end of the video. You all take lots of care, and I'll see you all in the next one.